am here in my kitchen and it is not ready for me to begin cooking. I've been all over town and I'm just coming back. It's not bad. I just have a few dirty dishes. I have dishes in the dishwasher. You can relate to that, right? So it's not always ready in your kitchen to start cooking, and sometimes that is our biggest deterrent. We just don't even want to get the kitchen ready, or we keep our kitchen so clean we don't want to dirty it up in any way to get in and start messing. I use my kitchen constantly all day long, and it gets cleaned throughout the day, probably several times. Everything gets wiped down good, but I like everything in its place, and I like for everything to be that way when I start cooking. And then when I finish up, I like it to be that way too. In between me being in the kitchen though, I have others that come into my kitchen. You know what I'm saying. Let's get started by just doing a little quick cleanup. All right, so now let's load it back up. Yay. Now that was easy. So on to cooking. Did you say for dinner you're doing peas and squash? Yep, black-eyed peas, squash, stewed with onions and tomatoes. Delicious, and my taste buds are just craving that. So, if you've never put tomatoes in your squash, come on and check this out. So easy and so good. Garden tomatoes. I did get black-eyed peas frozen. Y'all, I'm on the go. I like quick and easy, so I choose frozen definitely over canned. Definitely. These beautiful squash. All right, so I've already peeled one tomato, and I'm just gonna cut this up. I really should have done my squash first, but I just want to get this one out of the way. I'm just gonna cut it in pretty big old chunks. Y'all see that? Just leave this one kind of sitting over here to the side until I do a few squash. So I'm going to just cut my squash like this. And then I just stack it up, take my knife through it once or twice, and put them in this pot. Now before I do that, I'm going to put a little bit of coconut oil in there. And I could use grapeseed oil. That would give me less fat. But I do not get a whole lot of fat in my diet. I do get a gracious plenty, and that is a gracious plenty right there, coconut oil. And I'm going to go ahead and turn that up on high. And that's going to give me plenty of oil. That's going to kind of help season my squash. So I'm not going to add any water. I'm just going to put my squash in there. But I do love just the way it feels in my hand. It's a good size knife. I don't know the brand, but y'all probably have one like that. You've probably had since the 70s, because I think that's where this came from. If you do, let me know. I'd love to know. And listen, if you have any questions while I'm doing this, please put your questions in the bottom. I will see them and I will respond. And hey, while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe and like and turn on your notifications so that you see all upcoming videos. All right, y'all are going to see how quick and easy this is. Now really the prep time, you know, it takes a minute to clean your kitchen up, wash your veggies, and then cut them up. But oh my goodness, y'all, this is going to be so good. I cannot hardly wait. And I'm just going to season it with some sea salt and pepper. I might put a little bit of garlic in here, actually. And you know what? I do have fresh garlic, and I do have a garlic press. But I've got this little bit of garlic in here, and I'm just going to... And you know what? Let me just put just a tiny bit of water. Swish that around to get all of that in there. There you go. Throw some garlic. Can never get enough garlic. Now I'm going to turn it down now that it's gotten hot. So I've got it on about medium to medium high. I'm sure some of y'all are culinary artists out there, and you're thinking, Dana, you could do that so much more gracefully. And I could, but hey, I get the job done, girls. So that's all there is to it. Just get the job done. Just get it in the pot and cook it up. Alright, so I've got me 2 Vidalia onions. Normally I would just do 1, but I think today I'm needing some extra onion. I love onion and garlic. There's just nothing better. Alright, so I got my onion all nice and peeled. Gonna give it a little rinse and some cold water over here. I find that helps to not sting my eyes. And I'm just going to cut this. And I want it in kind of big chunks, big and little. I want to release enough flavor from it, but I want it big enough that I want to taste it when I bite into it. Alright, so I'm going to just stir this up a little bit, and I think I'm going to put the lid on for a little bit. Let some of that steam get to it. And as you can see, my knife is very sharp, and so just barely getting those peel off. Alright, and 1 more tomato. So I don't know if this sounds like a good meal to you or not, but if it does, comment below and let me know if this sounds like a meal that you and or your family would eat. Now, if you wanted to add some meat to it, of course I'm eating plant-based these days. I'm thinking it's probably for a lifetime, but I don't know. I hate to say never, but my body sure is liking it. Just seeing benefits of that all the time. Smelling good. Alright, we're going to add our pepper. Instead of shaking it, I like some pepper in there, okay? So I don't know how much that was, but a fair amount. And then I'm going to add some sea salt. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use the pour spout. That's good. I need more pepper than salt, but I do like my sea salt. It just brings the flavor out in the food so much. This is going to be so good. And then I'm going to take my cutting board, slide these tomatoes right in there. So now I can just kind of let these simmer. I'm just going to kind of leave the tomatoes basically on the top, put the lid on, and let them cook. Alright, so I am opening up a frozen bag of black-eyed peas with some snap beans in there. And this is a non-GMO product. I love buying my vegetables frozen. I'm going to just cover it with water, put it here on the burner. I've swapped my pots around so that I can use the smaller burner. I'm going to add my sea salt that I love. That looks like a lot of salt, I know, that I added, but it really is only about 2 teaspoons. This is going to need to cook about 30 to 40 minutes max. I'm going to add a little coconut oil just to season it and put my lid on there and bring it to a boil, and then I'm going to let it simmer for that 30 minutes or so, and they're going to be delicious. I have my dinner on the stove. Now I can just kind of let everything simmer. So that's what I love about, you know, cooking some big pots of vegetables and just letting them simmer on the stove. I've turned everything off on the stove, and I'm just going to let it just sit in its heat on the stove, but no burners are turned on because I'm going to get a haircut. Can't y'all tell? I'm a shaggy mess and I need a haircut. So anyway, I'm going to head to get my haircut. When I get back, I'll just turn this back on, finish cooking it up, and it'll be ready for me to eat because I'm really getting hungry. It smells delicious. So I'll be right back. Alright, so I'm back from getting my haircut. It feels so much better, so I'm glad I could just break away and leave this cooking on the stove. Although I had turned the burners off, it continued to cook as it was kind of cooling down a little bit. I came back in, turned both of these up to let them, you know, come back to another boil, and then I'm going to turn them off again because I've tasted them. They both taste delicious. These beans and peas, oh my, they smell so good. All of this is going to be so good. I wish you could smell them. All right, so let me grab a spoon over here. I'm going to show you a little bit better view of what these look like, because all you're seeing here is liquid. Oh, yes, yes, yes. All right, so I need to plate it up. Let's go eat. And there you go, my dinner tonight. And I packed John one too for him to take. He was excited too. He would like to have had corn in his, peas and beans. But anyway, I got it my way tonight. But if you have never tried tomatoes in your squash with some onions and a little bit of garlic, don't know what you're missing. You need to try it out. Thanks for watching. See you next time.